committee. I think that the three of us
What's
here
taking property
welcome that
without right?
investigation.
What's taking property without right?
Well, that would be theft.
Why not? Well, why not call it theft? Why come up with this designation? In fact, that's what he says. He's asked the question.
Congressman, I can't
the
speak to
solution,
that
the solution from
particular
Mr. Zabowski was to come up with this TP.
Folks, welcome back to the channel where we speak the truth that the mainstream media refuses to touch. You're here because you care about law and order, about the safety of your families, about the future of this country. And today, we're reacting to an absolutely wild exchange on Capitol Hill, where Congressman Jim Jordan just put the D.C. Council Chairman, Phil Mendelson, on the hot seat about crime statistics in our nation's capital.
Mr. Jordan from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mendelson, is crime up or down in the last month here in D.C.?
It's down.
Down significantly, right? Robberies down 42%, deadly weapon assaults down 13%, carjackings down 85%, car theft down 24%, violent crime down 25%. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Before last year, before the surge, violent crime was down 26%. After the surge, violent crime was down 27%.
Yeah, I thought you would say that before the surge that violent crime was down. But the chairman of the Fraternal Order, in fact, you said, I think you tweeted out, or you put a statement out on August 12th, violent crime in the district is at its lowest levels we've seen in 30 years.
Correct.
But the head of the Fraternal Order of Police, Mr. Pemberton, said, when our members respond to the scene of a felony offense, inevitably there will be a lieutenant or a captain that will show up on the scene and direct those members to take a report for a lesser offense. Are you guys cooking the books?
I think we're not, but I also know that there are a couple of investigations run by this
Well, you
committee.
settled a case too, didn't you? You just settled a case where someone said you were cooking the books. Is that right?
I can't speak to that case. I don't have familiarity.
Well, we know
of
it was settled. It's been reported.
But I do know there are collateral statistics that affirm the reduction in crime.
Is Mr. Pemberton lying? Head of the FOP?
Yes.
You think he's lying? Wow. Well, let me just read from the court case that was settled. This is the transcript of Mr. Randy Griffin, who's the commander of the Metro Police Department. And he was asked the question in his deposition. He says, Lieutenant Andrew Zabowski came up with the classification of taking property without right, correct? He responded yes. Question, so he's saying that you told him to come up with a solution for the theft problem, which is driving up crime statistics for the district, correct? He responded yes. Sounds like you guys are cooking the books there, according to, this is under oath from the deposition from this case that was just settled with the person who brought the action, sergeant in your police department. But you're not cooking the books?
Congressman,
the question was to Mr. Mendelson.
As I said, there are two investigations. I know there's one internal in the Metropolitan Police Department. I know that there's an investigation by this committee. I think that the three of us
What's
here
taking property
welcome that
without right?
investigation.
What's taking property without right?
Well, that would be theft.
Why not? Well, why not call it theft? Why come up with this designation? In fact, that's what he says. He's asked the question.
Congressman, I can't
the
speak to that
the solution from
case.
Mr. Zabowski was to come up with this TPWR, taking property without right. What is that? Taking property without right is what again?
If you're speaking to the particular charges, I can't speak to that. And as I've said several times here, I can't speak to that particular case. I think the issue is whether there is widespread...
I'm asking a simple question. You have a classification for crime called taking property without right. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means just what it said, if that's what the crime is.
Well, why not call it? I mean, what would a normal person call taking property without right?
Are we talking about what the criminal code and the specific
No, I'm just talking about that statement that you have that's grown 500% in the last several years, that specific category of crime. I'm just wondering, what does that exactly mean?
So if we look at collateral data such as ShotSpotter, we know that gunshots are down 29% from 23 to 24.
Taking property without right was the question. What does that mean?
I've already answered you, sir.
And what'd you say again?
I said that if you're speaking to a particular offense in our criminal code, I cannot speak to that particular offense.
Well, why not just call it stealing? That's what we would all. Someone comes in someone comes and takes something that belongs to me, or someone comes and takes something that belongs to you. We call it stealing. Why
well,
create this new
sir,
category that grows 500% that I think allows you to cook the books
Sir,
as the
you
head
know,
of the FOP in your city said
As you
so?
know, as the chair of the Judiciary Committee, there are for many offenses a range of possible charges from misdemeanor to felony and different shades of felony. So I am not familiar with that particular offense.
Is it a good thing that, are you against having the National Guard here, or do you think that's been helpful to the citizens and the families and the people who live in the D.C. area?
We think that the D.C. National Guard is a very valuable and wonderful asset to the city. That's a little bit different than having thousands of guard troops stationed around the city when they are not trained in law enforcement. And my understanding is that many of them were looking kind of bored with what they were doing.
My time is run out. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Chair.
Now, if you listen to the politicians and their hand-picked bureaucrats, they'll tell you crime is down. They'll throw out numbers. Robbery down 42%, carjackings down 85%, violent crime down 25%, and expect us all to just nod and move on. But patriots, we know better. We know how this game works. Let me tell you, when numbers look too good to be true, they usually are. Congressman Jordan did what every American should, demanded answers about how those numbers are actually calculated. And what did we hear? Allegations, straight from the Fraternal Order of Police, that the Metropolitan Police Department is cooking the books. That's right, downgrading felonies to misdemeanors, creating new categories just to make it look like crime is plummeting. Have you ever heard of taking property without right? I sure haven't. You haven't. Your neighbors haven't. But apparently, it's a category that's exploded by 500% in recent years. Why not just call it what it is, theft? Stealing is stealing, folks. If someone breaks into your home, or grabs your purse, or jacks your car, that's theft. But the DC politicians want to play word games so they can pretend everything is under control. And did you hear Mendelson's answers? When asked point blank about the taking property without right category, he dodges, he deflects, he claims he can't speak to it. Folks, either you're running the city or you're not. Either you know what's happening on your streets or you don't. I'm telling you right now, if you can't explain what a crime category means, you have no business running a lemonade stand, let alone a city. And then, when Congressman Jordan asks if the head of the Fraternal Order of Police is lying, Mendelson just says yes. No evidence, no explanation. Just calls a career cop a liar because he dared to blow the whistle on what's really happening. That's the arrogance of the left, folks. If you don't toe the line, they smear you. It's shameful. So, let's break this down. This isn't just about D.C. This is about a pattern we see in all the big blue cities. New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles. The politicians are more concerned with their image than your safety. They rewrite the rules, relabel the crimes, and tell you things are getting better while your neighborhoods get more dangerous. Then, when you point out the truth, they call you a liar, a racist, a fearmonger. Listen, America's cities are in crisis because our so-called leaders refuse to face reality. They tie the hands of police, they let criminals walk free, and then they fudge the numbers to cover their tracks. And who pays the price? Hardworking Americans. Mothers afraid to walk their kids to school, seniors scared to go to the grocery store, small business owners getting robbed and vandalized while the politicians pat themselves on the back for reducing crime. And what about the National Guard? Mendelson calls them a valuable asset, but doesn't want them actually doing anything. Heaven forbid we have real security in our capital. Maybe if the city was safe in the first place, we wouldn't even need to bring in the Guard. Here's my message. We need real transparency. We need leaders who will call crime by its name, not invent new categories to hide the truth. We need to back the blue, not attack the men and women risking their lives every day. And we need to hold every politician accountable, because if they're willing to lie to us about this, what else are they hiding? If you're tired of the lies, if you want safe streets and honest government, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video far and wide. Let's send a message to D.C. and every city hall in America that we're done with the cover-ups. We demand the truth. We demand accountability. We demand American values. God bless you. God bless our police. And God bless the United States of America.